Modal realism, a philosophical stance championed by the renowned philosopher David Lewis, challenges our intuitive understanding of reality in a profound way. Before we dive in, if you find this content valuable, please hit that like button, subscribe to our channel, and leave a comment below. It truly helps us grow. Now, let's get started. At its core, modal realism posits that all possible worlds are just as real as the actual world we inhabit. This view has sparked extensive debate and contemplation within the realm of metaphysics, provoking both admiration and skepticism among philosophers. In this review, we will explore the key tenets of modal realism, its implications, and the criticisms it has faced, aiming to provide a comprehensive understanding of this fascinating philosophical perspective. David Lewis, who introduced modal realism in his 1986 book on the plurality of worlds, took a radical departure from the common notion that reality encompasses only the world we perceive. According to modal realism, the actual world we inhabit is just one of an infinite number of possible worlds, each equally real and existing independently of one another. These possible worlds are not mere abstractions or hypothetical constructs, but concrete and self-contained realities, much like our own. One of the foundational principles of modal realism is the concept of possible worlds. Lewis argues that possible worlds are not merely logical constructs, but real entities, each containing a unique set of events, objects, and states of affairs. These worlds are as real as our own, with their own physical and metaphysical laws, and they exist parallel to our actual world, separated by what Lewis terms trans-world identity barriers. Modal realism's distinction between necessity and possibility is pivotal to its philosophical framework. Necessity, in this context, refers to truths or facts that hold in all possible worlds without exception. It represents a level of certainty that transcends the bounds of our empirical reality. On the other hand, possibility relates to what could be true in at least one possible world, even if it doesn't align with our actual world's reality. Modal realism contends that these two modalities are intertwined and that everything that is possible in one of these worlds is just as real as what is necessary in our actual world. This assertion challenges conventional notions of reality and opens a Pandora's box of philosophical inquiries. The ramifications of modal realism extend far beyond the confines of metaphysics. This philosophy challenges our very understanding of existence, urging us to rethink the nature of reality itself. Under modal realism, even fictional characters, mythical creatures, and logically contradictory events have some semblance of existence in one or more possible worlds. This expansion of the concept of reality forces us to confront the notion that our world is but a speck in the vast expanse of a multiverse teeming with diverse and often perplexing possibilities. Moreover, modal realism has profound implications for ethics and moral philosophy. In a multiverse where all possible worlds are equally real, ethical dilemmas become intricate puzzles. An action considered morally reprehensible in our world may find moral approval or indifference in another possible world. This relativistic perspective challenges the foundation of objective morality, raising profound questions about the universality of ethical principles and the basis upon which we make moral judgments. Modal realism forces us to grapple with the unsettling idea that ethical truths may be contingent upon the world in which they exist. In essence, modal realism disrupts our intellectual comfort zones by inviting us to explore a reality that transcends the boundaries of our everyday experiences. It challenges us to consider a world where possibilities are as real as necessities, where the familiar is just one facet of a kaleidoscope of possible worlds, and where ethical truths might vary from universe to universe. Whether one embraces or challenges this radical perspective, modal realism undeniably enriches philosophical discourse by prompting us to reevaluate our fundamental assumptions about the nature of existence and the contours of reality. Modal realism's impact on our comprehension of time and causality is profound. In a multiverse where every conceivable event unfolds in its own world, the conventional linear progression of time becomes intricate. Past, present, and future occurrences are each as tangible as the next, transcending our customary understanding of temporal progression. This challenges our fundamental understanding of causation, as the traditional notion of cause and effect becomes more elusive in a reality where all potential causes and effects exist concurrently. Modal realism forces us to reevaluate the very essence of time, causality, and the intricate web of relationships that define our temporal reality. However, modal realism does not escape scrutiny and has faced several compelling criticisms from philosophers and scholars. One prominent objection is the principle of plenitude. Critics argue that the modal realist's assertion that all possible worlds exist leads to an excessive and unwarranted proliferation of entities. If every possible world is real, this includes worlds with bizarre and counterintuitive properties, which some philosophers find ontologically extravagant. Another criticism centers on the problem of transworld identity. Modal realism posits that entities in different possible worlds cannot interact or influence each other, as they are separated by transworld identity barriers. This leads to questions about the nature of causation and communication between worlds. Critics argue that this view presents challenges for explaining how we have knowledge or access to information about these other worlds. Additionally, modal realism raises questions about the role of necessity and contingency. If all possible worlds are equally real, then what determines the necessity of certain truths in our world? Lewis suggests that it is a matter of the spatio-temporal arrangement of objects and events in our world, but this explanation has been criticized for being ad hoc and lacking a strong foundation. Furthermore, modal realism's implications for ethics and moral philosophy have drawn criticism. Critics argue that the view undermines the possibility of objective morality, as ethical truths could vary between possible worlds. This challenges our moral intuitions and raises questions about how we should approach ethical decision-making in a multiverse. In conclusion, modal realism, as expounded by David Lewis, is a thought-provoking and challenging philosophical perspective that challenges our conventional understanding of reality, necessity, and possibility. It posits that all possible worlds are equally real, expanding the scope of existence beyond our empirical experience. While it offers intriguing insights into metaphysics, ethics, and causality, it also faces significant criticisms regarding ontological extravagance, transworld identity, and the nature of necessity. Ultimately, whether one embraces or rejects modal realism depends on their willingness to accept its radical departure from traditional metaphysical views and their ability to grapple with the complex implications it raises. Regardless of one's stance, modal realism undeniably enriches the landscape of philosophical discourse and invites us to reevaluate our fundamental assumptions about reality and existence.